everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Fluffers 2021.
Yay, we survived.
We survived 2020.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
That was so much fun.
So much fun.
Congratulations to everybody who survived. All of the crazy energies and very fascinating pandemic and everything else that went along with it. Hopefully you enjoyed these videos and we're excited about moving forward in 2021 with more. Yeah. Jason and I have also ventured into a new effort called Arete in Charleston, South Carolina. We are on President Street, 115 President Street. You can look on the website. It's yoursoulspurpose.org. Please go there and see what we're doing. We're leaning into our spiritual gifts more heavily this year. Classes. So we're excited about that. Teaching classes and working with pendulums and teaching people to work with crystals and crystal healing. So feel free to check us out there. But as always, we are going to continue to do our super fun and funny Spiritual Fluffers videos.
Of course.
We need to keep fluffing people through the 2021 year because the energies are going to be pretty intense all year too. So
fun.
You need us to be laughing about it.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'll just be crying all the time.
Yes.
So that being said, our topic for today is don't put your head in a vice.
Yes.
And why is that our title today?
First of all, it's good advice. Second of all, we're really talking about the geocentric equation. And geocentrism was this belief that the universe revolved around the Earth. And then what happened was these people were very, very serious.
Yes.
They came up with one equation.
The Earth is the center of the universe.
I've got this math equation. And then that equation obviously was disproven. So then they would add on an addendum to it. Then they kept on doing this. They kept on doing this for about 3,000 years.
Wow.
Till the equation was like this
crazy.
big.
Yeah, complex.
And then there was this person named Galileo.
Galileo.
It was like, none of this is accurate. Look at my telescope. It's totally...
We actually all rotate around the sun.
Yeah. And you'd think they would be super, super happy for it.
Yes.
And be like, oh, thank you for...
Yes, thank you for revealing the truth to us. That we spent 3,000 years developing to convince ourselves that it's not real.
Yeah.
It's real, but it's not real.
And to think that they took it very seriously enough to put his head in a vice and make him excommunicate
They
him.
excommunicated and put his head in a vice.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you tell people the truth, who have spent their entire lives, generation after generation, convincing themselves of a belief.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's how a lot of beliefs work, is it keeps on adding, oh, well, there's this exception. So I'll add in, oh, no, well, that exception, I can accept that
because I still
exception.
have to believe what I believe.
Yep.
It cannot be wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as funny as that is, and the macro or the micro is the macro is a reflection of the micro.
Right.
And as funny as that equation is, we all do this. We all do this about our original selves and our beliefs around
who we are.
And our beliefs around the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why we're sharing this, we call it the geocentric equation, and it relates directly to who we believe we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so while the reality of our situation here on Earth is that we are majestic beings of light having an earthly experience in this meat suit, we call it, the meat computer suit.
Yep.
And so that's reality.
Yep.
Reality is limitless, unlimited possibility, wild, crazy adventures that you can believe in and invest in all the time.
Yeah.
But what happens when we're born into families, into religions, into societies, we are given a conditioned equation that we start from.
Conditional conditional equation, yep.
And so we believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually this little child born into this situation of poverty or in this situation in a third world country or whatever it is, and we buy in.
Here's this example where it's disproven. Nope, this is the explanation for it.
Exactly. So anything that comes at me that would be an indicator of a difference in that belief, I push that to the side or I use it to add another layer to my equation to make sure that I continue to build the equation for why I am in fact so limited.
Yep. That's pretty amazing. It gets a little freaky deaky, but it's 100% accurate. Literally, if we see an example of someone breaking out of their limitations, we'll be like, well, they did it because they had they had green eyes.
Or we call them crazy.
Yeah, or we call them crazy.
I mean, because, they busted out of this societal conditioning. Yeah. Well, that's a crazy person.
Well, that's a crazy person. Yeah. Or that person just got really lucky. They won the lotto or something like that. But again, that is the geocentric equation rearing its own head, saying, no, you need to think of yourself as limited. You need to think of yourself as limited.
So I have a personal example of how we rewrite. So it's not like it's this coding that we talk about, this equation that you're talking about. In us as humans, this equation is in our head. It's coded into our belief structures. Mm-hmm. And so we have the ability to write code of all sorts in our head.
We're any devil or any saint.
Exactly.
Literally with just a thought away, which is a little scary because that's what people with schizophrenia can do. They can literally change on a dime and
just a thought.
And rewrite their coding and completely and utterly believe it. And it's scary to believe that we're just a thought away from those people.
Yeah, seriously.
And also we do stuff that's almost worse than what they're doing.
Yes.
With our self-limiting.
It's by self-limiting.
But by being mean to ourselves, and again, I usually, self-limiting, some self-limiting is okay. A lot of self-limiting, if it's mean, then I don't.
So that's the example I'm going to share. So when we're out sometimes and I'll be like, oh gosh, no one's ever hitting on me anymore. Mm-hmm. And you'll be like, well, those 3 guys alone tonight already hit on you. Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, what are you talking about? And so what I did in the micro of those interactions with those individuals, they may have really had kind things to say about me, or gosh, you're pretty, or you're really smart, or whatever, and I rewrote it so quickly to reinforce the belief I have about myself.
Yep.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's amazing how often we do this. We do it on a daily basis, either through confirmation bias or rewriting the code.
Yeah.
Confirmation bias is going to come to dominate the mainstream thought. Because we're all going to say, oh, we all have confirmation bias.
So talk about it. It's actually, as an evaluator, it's been in my field for years. We're always supposed to avoid confirmation bias.
Yeah. Confirmation bias is just this, it's, everyone has bias. We all know everyone has bias. But our brains will literally take the stuff that disproves and reject it, and then stuff that approves
will latch onto it.
Right.
So it's like, because of this self-limiting belief that's put into us so young and so early in our childhood, it's almost like we have built-in confirmation bias.
You have to have
computer or whatever. You know what I mean? So anything that comes at you, you cast away what doesn't prove your small belief about yourself, and you add on to the evidence of, oh, I really am pretty limited.
And we know this is true both with and again, anger porn, politics, and almost also just thinking about generalizations about people, they are not accurate, but the brain is like, well, it's accurate enough, and it'll. So you won't be. It's very difficult to change your political views. It's very difficult to change your views.
Yeah, because it's part of what's going on in our political system today. Is everyone is so entrenched in whom they believe they have to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, what we're asking for you to do, and the reason we're even doing this, is to simply say, you don't have to keep adding to that equation. Mm-mm. For 4,000 years.
and again, the equation gets more and more absurd.
It really does. It's like, how it's so absurd at this point that it's ludicrous that you continue to believe that you're that limited, or that you're that boxed into some belief system in the piles of evidence to the contrary over here that you're basically ignoring.
Especially in this world, where you could easily move to a different city.
Yeah, true.
Almost instantaneously move to a different city. No, I can't do that. I'm 100% sure you could.
You could. Might be in the middle of nowhere. That's not necessarily where you wanted to, but you could.
Or you couldn't change anything about you on a micro level. You're like, of course you can. Why couldn't you do that? I know millions of people who do it all the time. Heck, I know every single person who's joined the military has fundamentally transformed because of the conditioning program. I know many people who go off to college, they've fundamentally transformed. But again, it's our self-limiting belief.
Yeah.
We need to believe in this, and we're basically just saying, no, you don't.
You don't, and so we don't want you to wholesale overhaul your whole structure, because that creates chaos. That shifts you into the schizophrenic behavior, right? The psychosis. Mm-hmm. But what we are saying is that you don't have to be so locked into the limited belief. And what you can do, and this is what we've done with me in terms of just me trying to notice, find find the point of limitation that you have. Find whatever that belief is about yourself or about your circumstances that keeps you kind of boxed in, and begin to just be aware of how you interact around that limitation. If people say things to you that challenge the limitation or challenge your belief about it, before jumping on them or before immediately throwing it into your pile of limitation.
They just did that because of this.
Exactly. Like, before doing it, just catch that, you call it the glimmer, the flicker moment. Just a quick flicker of, wait a minute, real quick before I code that into the pile of limitations. Let me question it.
Yep. It's question it. Catch yourself in the now moment. Do not judge yourself.
Do it lightheartedly. Yeah, don't be like an investigator who's like, oh, there I go again, limiting my self-beliefs.
Yeah. Because
that's just going to actually make it worse for you.
Your ego is going to take control, and then also create this game where you'll just get exhausted and you won't actually change. But all movement.
Ego's like, oh, another way to beat yourself up. Hey, let me take notes.
But again, all movement happens at the micro level, and it's really through the micro level that we can transform ourselves. There's ways to do it on a macro level, but again, we would need to take you through a military boot camp and get the crap out of you.
Yeah, completely recondition your whole being.
We really don't want to do that.
No, what we're saying is just pick a space where you know that you have limited beliefs in it, and just start to kind of pay attention to it a little bit. Do so lightheartedly. Kind of laugh about it when it comes at you, like, oh, there I go doing it again.
Yep.
And then slowly, just even 10% of your energy, just slowly try to focus on expanding your abilities in it just a little bit, your opportunity. Do I have to stay in this limited belief, or could I actually open up and believe that people are really hitting on me when I'm not necessarily paying attention to it like that?
Yep. And we're going to have an episode on leaning into it. Just lean into it. Like, oh my God, like, first of all, you're not going to die.
Yeah.
You're not doing brain surgery. You're not doing stuff that's life.
Although some of you out there might be brain surgeons.
Yes.
However, I doubt you're watching spiritual
I don't think
you are.
I don't think you are.
But maybe it's weird times out here.
But like for most of the stuff, just lean into it. Like nothing bad's gonna happen to you if you just lean into it. The worst that can happen is nothing.
Yeah, the worst that can happen is nothing, and you go right back to your limited belief about yourself.
Your ego's hurt. Oh darn.
So I think the point of all of this, actually, with what we're doing, is we're just simply trying to say, get off the hamster wheel, get off the droning of everyday life, that it has to be the same exact way all the time and nothing can change, and believe that something actually can change.
Yep.
And that can happen in you. It can happen in very small ways that can actually ripple. I've studied systems and complex systems for years. The tiniest little change can ripple out and become huge changes. It's
much easier to change the small functions, and the macro functions are a reflection of the micro functions. It's much easier to change micro functions. If you're trying to change the macro function, you'll actually get lost in the complexity and it won't change. Or you'll believe, if I find this perfect job or perfect unicorn person, then
everything will be wonderful.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's another self-limiting belief.
Yeah.
And we create these geocentric equations of like, oh, that perfect person will come and save me.
My favorite are those who don't believe in God, but they do believe that there's a perfect unicorn person that's going to come and bring them all the love they need in the world.
It's awesome. I love it. One of these might be more accurate than the other.
So we hope that you're enjoying this. As always, we are hoping to just bring you a little bit of light and laughter into what is fairly serious ways of being that we have down here that are trying to keep us small. Yeah. And we want everybody who is listening and watching to realize that you are a majestic being of light having an earthly experience. And you can make that experience as fun and interesting and exciting, which does include what we call pain sometimes. Or you can keep it small and you can keep it dull, and you'll probably come back and do it again and hopefully get the fun choices into the next round.
Yep.
So hopefully you're enjoying this. Thank you as always for watching us. If you like it, give us the thumbs up below. Please subscribe. We've got lots of videos there that you can watch. and share with your friends. And check us out at spiritualfluffers.love or nowyoursoulspurpose.org. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right, that was fun.